Should we run through Rampage? Should we have a Rampage on Rampage real briefly?
Real briefly, because I don't know how much we could talk about. You know, we said it before. I said it. I like it because it's a 1 hour show and it moves quick. But unlike last week's show, which was a major moment that everyone was tuned into, this week's show was taped and it just felt like another show as opposed to a show you had to tune in to see.
Oh, it's not because it was taped. It's because of what they put on the tape. It could be a taped show and still be good, but again, how the mighty have fallen. We went from the penthouse to the outhouse. And that's what this program is schizophrenic. Or this company is schizophrenic. They can do a moment of brilliance and then here we go. And this 1 hour show did not fly by for me. I'll tell you that. Real briefly. As a matter of fact, they even joked about Jericho on Color screaming his commentary like his heavy metal singing at the top of the program. Did you hear that?
Well, he joked. He said, I scream, that's what I do.
Yeah.
I just wish you would do it somewhere else, like in the bathroom when no one are home.
So the finals of the tag team tournament, the number one contenders, the Lucha Brothers versus Jungle Boy and Dino Douche. Of course, they can't go anywhere without their little pet dwarf dong sucker, and the Hardley Boys come to the stage and watch. And I wrote, this has all the earmarks of being a complete fucking mess. And here we go. Jungle Boy is amazing when he's with somebody that can work. When they have a match, when he's with somebody that leads him and tells him how to have a match, he sells great. His timing is good. He's an underdog babyface that you get sympathy for and you care about in a wrestling match. When he's in with this goofy partner of his and other opponents that can't lead him, it's a fucking mess. And this was Felix and Jungle Boy started out with one of the most choreographed gymnastics floor routines that I've ever seen. At one point crossing over into the swing dancing era. And all the flips were perfect. They just forgot to look like they weren't cooperating with each other, and they forgot to land any of their strikes in any kind of a convincing fashion. But the flips were perfect. And then Dino Douche got in and started doing the awkward kicks, and they went to the break. And they came back from the break with multiple dives in different directions. There's no babyface team here. There's no heel team. There's no logic. They did simultaneous cold tags so that more guys could start doing moves to each other at random without making any sense. It was sloppy. Felix, in the middle of this complete fiasco, did a great flog splash. Or he could have been flogged. A frog splash off the top rope. It was great. It was, if you viewed that in a vacuum, wow, that guy does a great frog splash. But this rest of this match was complete mayhem and the phoniest, most contrived, fake bullshit spot that I've ever seen, where they set it up so that Felix could Hurricane Rana Jungle Boy off the top turnbuckle onto the floor, onto Dino Douche, Penthouse, and Dwarf Dongsucker, who stood there stock still waiting to catch him for 17 full seconds. Long enough that they had to shoot away from it with the camera, but the people in the building could still see them, these three imbeciles, standing there, stock still, friend and foe alike, waiting to catch this guy that's going to come off the top rope, that there's no way that they could have known that he was going to come off the top rope because it took the other guy so long to set that move up. But yet they had faith. Garbage. And it wouldn't end. And then somebody gave Jungle Boy a Canadian destroyer on the ring apron. They're trying to kill him. And then they gave one off the top rope to Dino Douche, and he kicked out at one. So then the Lucha Brothers gave him 4 super kicks, one after the other, then a double super kick, then a double team splash for a 2 count. And then they gave him some kind of fucked up double team pile driver and beat the dinosaur. Everybody beat the dinosaur.
It was everyone walk the dinosaur, wasn't it?
Well, no, in this case, everyone beat the dinosaur.
Wasn't that the song?
It was.
Open the door, get on the floor.
It was. Yeah.
Everybody do the dinosaur. Not walk them, do the dinosaur.
And right now I'm screaming, where's Mussolini and Kennedy? Because this was horrible. So we know now that it'll be the Lucha Brothers against the Hardy Boys on the pay-per-view in a cage. And the Hardy Boys jumped in and beat some people up and then ran off. And then the two teams, Lucha Brothers and Jungle Boy and Dino Douche, that just tried to cripple each other, hugged and kissed each other and raised each other's arms. It would be hard to find a match worse than this anywhere from any promotion, in my opinion. And we certainly know now that one of the things on the pay-per-view that we can fast forward through is the Lucha Brothers versus the Hardy Boys. Because have we not already seen that multiple times, and do we not already know what it's going to look like?
We've seen those two tag teams a lot. This cage match was just seemingly put there for no good reason. Maybe now the reason is just because they've worked so many other matches with gimmicks with these two guys, the Lucha Brothers. I'm waiting for the scaffold match, because then something real could happen. But, I'm not a fan of the Young Bucks tag team division and their booking of the tag team division. And, beyond the bad booking of FTR, it's one of the reasons I got so pissed about Cash getting hurt. I had a little bit of hope we'll get a little bit of a FTR, Santana, and Ortiz program, and we'll see what happens. But I don't like this. I don't like the Jurassic Express too much, although Jungle Boy has some talent and some potential, but eventually potential runs out. You're not going to be the top guy. Lucha Brothers have a good thing at times, but boy, the Young Bucks just don't do it for me.
The Lucha Brothers are great for Lucha Libre, and in Mexico, they accept that style, but it looks, with American eyes, like bullshit. And they don't try to apply any basics of American wrestling that would make it look like it's a contest. They just run and flip and jump. And it is what it is. Same thing every fucking time. Anyway, they did do a package on Punk's return, but there was no Punk on this show live. No Mussolini, no Kennedy. Not even Hirohito.
And I gave WWE some shit recently for false advertising. Don't make it sound like Punk's going to be on the show. You will hear from CM Punk. And then that's what you get.
Yeah, a package.
A package where he spoke for, 30 seconds?
Even with the NFL voiceover, he was in the building, for fuck's sake. Anyway, next up, Miro walks out of the entranceway having chucked Fago del Solo, the minute, microscopic, pasty white fake luchador from Mobile, Alabama.
He's not pasty white. He's a Latino.
Well, he looks pasty white to me.
What?
He's from Mobile, Alabama. Most people from Mobile are pasty white. He's definitely skinny. He chucked him out of the entranceway, and the guy's crawling to the ring. He's the one they gave the contract to, even though he got beat, because he was friends with Sammy Guevara. So Miro is walking to the ring and talking on the microphone while this guy's crawling because he's beating him up in the back. Nobody's coming out trying to do anything. Nobody's reacting to this in any way. He just gets in the ring. He cuts a promo on the guy, rips his mask off to reveal his face. So, of course, Fago del Solo does what every other masked wrestler does when their mask comes off. He grabs his face, covers his face with his hands. And then Miro super kicks him right in the hands and the face. And the guy takes a bump, but his hands never came off his face. If you've got your hands covering your face and something that you can't even see hits you in the face very hard and you go down, wouldn't you let go of your face? Anyway, Eddie Kingston came out and got in a fight in the ring with Miro, and then the referees hit the ring to pull them apart. And they had a sloppy pull apart, and Miro left. What in the hell was going on here? What in the wide, wide world of sports was happening with old Fago del Solo?
Well, Fuego del Sol was just to set up this whole angle, which was to set up a match at the pay-per-view. And I'm not going to complain about this. Everything other than his involvement with Kip and Penelope has been good for me. I like Miro. I like him as this kind of, weird / crazy, destructive guy who just beats people up. When he pulled his mask off the way he did it, I laughed. I like Miro. I mean,
but
we'll
it's
see.
preposterous. I mean, it's a joke to us now.
Of course it is, but
it's a joke to us now. Another guy got jumped in the locker room. It's the most dangerous place in wrestling, in the back area. And they just... Do they expect somebody to believe that this guy really did jump this guy and beat him up, and now he's crawling to the ring, and there's nobody coming out trying to do anything about it? It's just normal, accepted happenings.
Maybe Fuego was hanging out by a gorilla position, and Miro just surprised him and grabbed him and threw him out there right as he was walking out to do who knows what.
Well, speaking of doing who knows what, here's somebody else I'd like to see thrown out. They had a match between Ty Conti and the Bunny. And the Bunny jump-started it from behind and threw 20 kicks and a running forearm and never touched her opponent once. Did you see that?
Yes, and I will say I have been impressed somewhat with Ty Conti.
You have?
A little bit, yeah. I think
when?
I think Ty Conti has something. The Bunny, though?
It might be contagious.
The Bunny is instant death. As soon as she's on there, the Butcher, the Blade, the Bunny, anyone in that whole jobber crew, I fast forward. So I didn't really watch this.
This match would have stunk in wrestling school with no fans allowed to see it. The boys around the ring would have been fucking laughing. It should have been on some kind of lingerie wrestling pay-per-view because these two look like two drunk strippers on ice. Them trying to work with each other at one point, I said, how can I describe this? I said, okay, it looks like an escape artist trying to get his way out of a straitjacket. That's what it looked like with these two trying to work with each other. It looked like the biggest struggle I've ever seen for anybody to get anything done. And then Ty Conti missed 3 running kicks to the face in the corner. She put them right by and got the Bunny in some hold, and here comes Penelope Ford stalking down the aisle. So here's a third stripper on ice to be heard from. They almost look like twins, 3 blonde, vapid twits that you would expect to see on a reality television show griping about their boyfriends.
Why are you calling them how did Ty Conti get involved in this where she's a vapid twit?
This was one of the worst, most embarrassing matches I've ever seen in my life. And they all look like blonde. They look like John Laurinaitis fantasies that he would have signed out of lingerie catalogs.
I could see that for the Bunny and Penelope. Ty Conti, I think, is a different wrestler.
Well, then she should have been wrestling a different wrestler, because this did nothing for her here. But Penelope Ford comes down the aisle. The girls in the ring stagger around. Penelope Ford distracts the referee. The baker at ringside gives Bunny brass knuckles. And she hit Ty Conti with what I can only describe as the second ever phantom punch after Ali and Liston in Lewiston, Maine. She didn't swing. It was like suddenly she just went boop like that, and suddenly Ty Conti just goes, "Oh, I'll fall over." 1, 2, 3. The brass knuckles left no mark, nor didn't even mess the makeup up on this 120-pound blonde girl. Did you see a punch? Did you see a blow? What happened there?
Again, I was fast forwarding already by this point.
All right. Well,
seriously, anytime you see the Bunny out there and she makes her faces, it's always the same.
She makes the face.
You tilt the head, you stick your tongue out. We got it. You got a tongue ring. You know what it's making a lot of the fans think of, but you're boring already. Enough.
Well, no, I can't say that she's boring, because anybody that works like a fucking baby deer on an ice-covered pond is never boring. You never know what's going to happen. It's just not good.
I'm going to take it back. My issue isn't with the Bunny. It's with Tony for putting this on TV. Tony, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck are you doing? You know you shouldn't be on TV.
Well, in the category of what are you doing, the main event is a tag team match. And of course, they have now the thing on Rampage where Mark Henry does a split screen interview with the participants. And so now there's 3 split screens.
This is the best. By the way, this is the highlight of Rampage every week, the Mark Henry face-to-face.
Yeah, the opponents with Mark Henry in the middle, and they ask some questions, and they promote their match. And this was with Christian Cage and Frankie Kazarian taking on Twinkle Toes and Brandon Cutlet with Don Fallis. That's our main event, and those were the split-screen participants. And, of course, as we all know, Brandon Cutlet is a complete idiot. And Don Fallis makes sure to tell everybody. And it's more comedy from the heels. Christian Cage was trying to be serious in this situation.
The whole time. He's standing there looking at it while they're acting like silly guys. He was being as serious as you could be.
He was trying to sell this issue like anybody was going to buy it. And he said, got in carny bullshit again. It's his favorite new catchphrase. But so the baby faces are being all serious, but Brandon Cutlet is in it and the heels are goofing off. And so, and anyway, they have this match. And again, I like Frankie Kazarian. I like Christian Cage. But Kaz and Cutlet start, and Cutlet's in that stupid zebra striped warm-up suit and the face shield on and all of his goofy gimmicks, and he's portrayed as like a manager. He's ineffectual physically. So Kaz charges him in the corner, and it looks like he's doing a beatdown of Steve Austin. He hit him with 22, I counted, 22 fake-looking punches on Brandon Cutlet in the corner, just windmilling over and over. Why do that? He's a manager at best. And then he goes out and he comes back in and follows up, Kaz does, with one great-looking punch that Cutlet actually could sell. And then but he's beaten Cutlet. I thought at one point Cutlet was supposed to be at least an indie wrestler, but he moves around in the ring like a fan who got to climb in and nobody ran him off. So, and then finally, they make Twinkle Toes tag in, and Twinkle Toes reaches under the top rope and over the middle rope to tag Brandon Cutlet. Like that's suddenly become legal, and he didn't know any difference. Olivier honestly doesn't know how to make a tag. And then Kaz and Twinkle Toes did some fancy prancing and prissy dancing, and then as soon as Kaz tags Christian Cage in, Twinkle Toes tags Cutlet back in because he's working like he's afraid of Christian Cage. And they beat up Cutlet some more. And then Michael Knock It the Fuck Off hit Kaz with his laptop and did some bad, stagey physical comedy about being scared and got tossed over the rail. And then Twinkle Toes beat up Kaz for a while and made his funny faces. And the butt plug face and the Harpo Marx faces and the gesticulating. And then tags Cutlet in. And Cutlet gets in there and not just does a strut like a heel and then goes to work on the baby face while he's down. He goes into a dance routine. And he dances so long that Christian Cage just gets up and starts beating him up again. And then somehow Cage got Twinkle Toes and Cutlet in the corner and got up on the ropes and gave them both the 10 punches together. But Twinkle Toes somehow came back here in a second and nutted Christian Cage around the ring post. But then Twinkle Toes knee lifted Cutlet by mistake, and I just wrote, what the fuck is going on? This is just nonsense. There's just shit going on back and forth, and finally, surprise, surprise, Christian Cage beat Brandon Cutlet in the main event of a national TV show, and I wrote the chant that I was hoping to hear again, "We want Punk, we want Punk." Wow. They went in 1 week from the most memorable wrestling television broadcast of the era to an outlaw show that wasn't even particularly good for independent wrestling. What are they doing?
Easily the worst episode of Rampage so far. I'm not sure.
Well, there's been three. There's been three, so easily the worst so far. It's not like it's a big accomplishment.
But still, the Punk thing was a big moment. And I understand how it's hard to, what do you do the next week? But you got to do something. And in the past, there have been examples when Watts would do a big angle. The next week, things would slow down. But that wasn't what this was. It wasn't like things slowed down. It was just they put some, to me, unappealing matches. Did anyone have any question who was doing the job in that main event? When you saw who was in that main event? No. Did anyone want to see Ty Conti versus the Bunny? Was there a single fan of AEW who was like, oh my God, they're finally doing it. I can't wait to see Ty and the Bunny. They're going to show everyone what they can really do. No. Is anyone really looking forward to the Mark Henry segments?
Now,
Maybe.
wait a minute, I will say that there are probably a lot of people out there that would love to see what Ty Conti and the Bunny could really do, but not in a wrestling match.
And is anyone really excited about another Jurassic Express? I don't know that Jurassic Express and Lucha Brothers have wrestled a bunch of times, but it just seems like so many of these teams have wrestled against each other. Same style of matches, same kind of matches. You know, I'll give AEW a little bit of credit here. Good job on camera work. While those three guys were at ringside hugging each other, waiting for the Hurricane Rana to hit them, the camera didn't show them. You knew they were there. You knew they were standing there. The camera eventually just showed Jungle Boy and Ray Phoenix doing their dance on the rope for a few minutes.
Well, now that we know that Timmy Walbert is there as director, he had the floor shot at first, and then when he saw how long this fucking bullshit was going to take to set up, he had his floor guy to close in on the guys on the top. Don't look at the guys standing there staring stock still.
And then I was excited about the idea Rampage had Dasha as the ring announcer because she's better than Justin Roberts, and it's a different feel than Dynamite. No, he's back as ring announcer now, week 3, on this show. The show's now taped, so it loses the energy. There's going to be live ones again in the future. They were talking about Miami on the show.
I still don't care about being taped or not if it's a good show. Every wrestling show in history was taped once upon a time.
I agree with you, but with AEW, it's a little different. I think they're going to present a different kind of show when it's live than when it's taped. This was a taped show. This felt more like a YouTube show than a national television show. And it's not always the case. I just don't think this was a good episode. It moved quick. It went by quick. The awkwardness of Mark Henry in those segments is becoming one of my favorite things. While he just stands there holding a microphone in the middle, you're watching him the whole time. I love it.